quick intro. Another one, another Sunday. Another Sunday. What's going on, old guy? Did you make sure you AI proofed your home after the discussions we had yesterday?
Absolutely.
Actually, you probably couldn't AI proof your home because you probably needed somebody in my generation to help you out.
The AI stuff, whatever.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. You
I'm
say
not
that.
worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Of
not
course, of
worried about
course, of course not. Of course not.
it.
Of course not.
Um, no, no. Happy Memorial um, Day weekend
Mm-hmm.
for everyone, and you included. Um, I'm just here. I'm ready to go with a real good topic instead of that AI stuff, and
Nah.
we
We
just
we
move
talk
forward.
about what stuff real people really should be concerned about, and AI is the forefront of that.
Oh, this topic is very important.
Okay, I
Um,
mean it's your week,
this
so you got the floor,
Right, right,
old man.
right, right,
You know.
right. It's talking about enslavement, the new type of enslavement. Everybody's familiar with slavery and the things that slavery, what it took to keep it around for so long, why it was kept around so long, and it built, nations. Slavery, that concept. Now is building somebody else's bottom line, and we're all a part of it. Um, I don't think it's any way around it for the most part, but you can alleviate some of it. Um, the impact that it has on you and your family and generations. Um, paying taxes on property, homes, everything. You're a part of it. It's no way around that. If
Mhm.
you live here, you're going to have to pay that. So, um, but do some people are more entangled in this enslavement than others? And then with others, the ones that can get out, make that difference are ones that are working and generating income compared to those who rely on the government to live for shelter and housing, shelter and food as well.
Well, I mean, at
Yeah,
the end of the day, it doesn't even matter if they're the 1% making the money; they're still enslaved to something because
yeah, they're part of it.
they can't operate without going back to what we talked about last week, the internet. They can't operate. So they're enslaved to their phones or whatever device they're using to keep up on the news. Everybody's enslaved to I would say about 90 to 95% are enslaved to, social media and things like that, or their followings and all that other stuff. So there is probably a 0.00001% of the population, if not less than that, that is actually not enslaved to anything because you're attached to something in some capacity. So there, like you were
Absolutely.
saying, there's no way to avoid it
Get around.
there,
You
unless
know,
you just
I'm a
leave the
slave
planet.
to some extent, maybe not more than others. When you're on government assistance, you're more of a
Mm,
slave. You're more attached. And during COVID, and it was a prime example of that during COVID, where shortly thereafter, that people weren't accepting these Section 8 vouchers anymore. The people who own property, they weren't accepting them anymore. They were saying, forget that. I don't want to deal with it anymore. And now you had people who've been there 3 to 4, decades under that system living in a particular situation. And because that owner decided they don't want to do that anymore, said, I'm doing away with the vouchers. I'm doing away. I'm not going to accept that anymore. So these people were, I mean, I don't know if they found places, I'm pretty sure that since the market of renters now is you got a big window, you can make a lot of money, you can charge whatever you want. These people were going to be homeless based on the fact that a decision of the homeowner saying, or apartments owners or whatever saying, I'm not going to accept that voucher any longer. And these people had no other recourse. They've been doing this 30, 20 years under that system. And now they're asking for help. That's the downside of this enslavement when you relying on the government to take care of you because it's all about a decision
Mm.
and everything goes left.
So you're
And
refer.
this, okay,
I was just saying. So just to make sure I'm understanding, you're referencing more so to the government side because that can also go the way when you're talking about COVID as far as the work from home stuff, and then all of a sudden the people they see the benefits, but they're like, no, you know what, we're gonna go back to status quo. Come into the office, work, do come into the office and work. You're because we got to build camaraderie and everything. That isn't that the same? Wouldn't that fall into that same thing? And then people are like, why would I want to do this when it benefits me more to do it this way? The way that we're doing it when we have the proof. Yeah, I know it's apples and orange as far as what you're discussing, but I'm saying isn't it kind of the same thing as far as the working from home situation? You had a drastic change. They went about it, try to accommodate a lot of people, but then they didn't. They wanted to put butts in seats, basically have things go back to the way they were because they're losing money in their pockets for the buildings that they rented and stuff like that.
absolutely. Um, but they had to change. They had to change their philosophy. But it's
But they
all about a decision.
but they still
It's
didn't
all about a
change.
decision.
A lot of people were like, you got to come back into the office. They're making mandates for people to come back into the office. Some have, some haven't.
Well,
It just
they probably have.
mm-hmm,
Some probably have, but they know that they don't have that leverage like they had before
mm-hmm.
because what they won't do, somebody else will do. And would you let your talent that you nurtured, probably trained, go to someplace else just because you feel that you own, you rent this building or you lease this building
You need
that
to you need to ask the generation that's above you because they're the ones doing they're the ones making those decisions.
no, 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 no. I think they are coming around. I'm thinking they realize to do business, you will have to adjust
Right.
to this new norm.
Hey, wouldn't that
But
go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. What were you about to say?
But that new norm, other people got to understand that new norm also affects the other side that doesn't work,
Mm-hmm.
the other side that relies on a certain entity
Mm-hmm.
for their housing and shelter. I mean, food and shelter. And with that being said, that's all based on a decision. And it kind of showed itself, I'm like I stated earlier, in the housing when people weren't accepting the government vouchers any longer. So they put themselves at risk. And the thing about it is it's generational, where the generations get involved in this. The people who've been there decades, now they have kids who fall suit and fall into the same criteria, and now they're at risk. In this enslavement, I want to let people know you can control this. You can get the benefits, but don't have your life based on a decision, uh, based on a group supplying you with the necessities. Now, because even with the necessities, these people have more wants. Take care of their wants better than you and I. So what I'm saying is it's this new slavery limits you to a point where one decision can dictate if you're on the street or or if you have a home and a place to stay for your kids.
I'm like, okay. Hmm. I'm trying to like I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I'm guessing you're talking about the Section 8 housing and the
That's just
whatever.
one of many things.
Uh,
Social Security, relying on Social Security, Medicaid, and all that stuff. It's
I mean, the Social Security thing that's a y'all generation thing because that's probably not going to be around by the
well, you probably
time.
got more people your age on disability Social Security than anybody
Well, isn't that?
because they don't want to work. I'm just saying. I'm just
I
saying.
mean, I
I mean,
but let's keep it a spade. What generation is benefiting from the Social Security that we've generated so
not
far?
ours.
It definitely
No,
isn't
no.
ours,
This generation is paying for the generation ahead of us.
and we're paying for y'all generation. So what are you talking
No,
about?
no, because we're not getting the work output in your generation
Uh huh.
and under you
Uh huh.
that
Uh,
that we need to sustain Social
mm, mm.
Security. It's always been in question.
No, that's
It's
been in
always
question.
been in
That's
question.
been in question since I
Not
was.
with our generation.
That was in question when I was in high school. That they were talking about. Oh, it's
Yeah,
gonna.
because y'all won't work. We realize you
How
wouldn't
does
work.
that?
This generation in school
So
right now
so
is
you're
not
telling
going to
me
be able to
so
sustain
you're
the
telling me
generation ahead of it.
so you're telling me at 13 when I was actually legal to work that it was already determined that we don't do enough work. So at
It's just
13,
all the mindset. It's all the mindset. See the mentality.
so you're
We see
telling
the mentality
at
of
13
the group.
at 13
No, no. We know what you're going to be at 18.
at
We
13
know what you were going to be at 25.
so you can stop that. You can stop lying
we,
right now. You can
we
stop
know
lying
where
right
you're going
now.
to be at
You can
30.
stop lying right now because there ain't no way at 13 you gonna tell me, oh, this generation ain't got no. It's like we just turned 13. We just now
Okay,
able to
can you
work.
tell about the generation 13 right now?
Hmm?
How they going to be?
No,
Can you tell
I
what the
can tell you.
generation at
I can tell
13
you the
right
one.
now,
I can tell you
how
the
they going to
ones.
be?
I can tell you the ones that hit 18. How they're gonna be the ones that are
Okay, tell
behind
me
us.
how they're going to be.
They gonna be in a bad spot. That's how they
Okay,
gonna be.
all right.
Cause at
That's how
18,
we know about that.
at 18 is when you can determine that. Not
No,
at
that's
13.
when you realize it. We realize it when you were 13.
No, no. At 13, y'all was still giving us the status quo. Gotta go to college. Gotta do this. Gotta work a job 9 to 5. Gotta be part of the enslavement. gotta
No,
be part of. Gotta be
but
part of the. Gotta be part of the machine. And
and and the thing about it, that's what we were taught. But
exactly.
the thing is, we stopped teaching that to the generation behind us. What I'm saying, they got less and less behind my generation. That we wanted our kids to do less. That we wanted our kids to be the leaders, not not the workers. And and that's not they the foundation is know how to work. You teach the person how to work
Mm-hmm.
so they can know how to lead.
Mm-hmm. I think our generation is doing pretty well as far as how to work because there's a lot more
What,
access.
really?
Yeah, there's a lot more because okay, there's a lot more access to things that y'all didn't have that we have now. So I would say we're doing pretty good as far as.
Your generation
Hmm.
is going to be the reason why everybody's going to rely on the government.
No, it's not.
Your generation and beyond is going
No.
to be the reason why. Because listen, y'all don't
Go
the
ahead.
people in that generation
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
don't can't handle pressure.
Our generation?
Can't handle
Are you
pressure.
talking about the one after us? Because I know our generation.
I'm talking about your generation
No, see
and
now
me.
you
I'm
be
calling them out. I'm
you
calling you out.
you need
It's
to
your generation, everybody believe it.
Uh huh.
because you can't handle pressure.
Right.
You see it on the
Right.
news
Mm-hmm.
daily.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take an L.
And how old are those people on the news? In the 20s? I'm
30,
no,
30 and
ain't
below.
no,
30,
no. See, now you lying. Ain't no way. The generation
30 and below.
that you
30
talking
and
about,
below.
the generation that you talking about, they in the 20s, fresh out of high school. Our generation, did you not realize we have yet to, and this is an actual factual thing, we have yet to catch a break as far as
To break.
listen to me, listen to me. Since our generation has been around, we have not had a downtime as far as to recoup. We've had a war.
Recoup
We've
from
had
what?
I'm saying as far as economics, we've had a war.
Okay.
We've
Mhm.
had the 9/11. We had another war. What do you we haven't had a downtime for us to actually invest and do the things that your generation had the time to do.
No, no, no. We went through it too, but we served in it. We put our no. We put backbone behind all that.
We're not talking about the early 1900s, man.
No, no, no. We went through that the same thing.
Uh-huh.
We went through all those wars and everything.
Right.
But the thing about it, we could handle it.
Right, but you were also
We had to
hold
choose to
on.
handle it.
Listen to this. You were also established by that time. We didn't know how to handle our generation didn't know how to handle a recession coming out of college and things like that. A recession, then a pandemic. It's like, come on now. Like we've been
So,
through
so you want to be enslaved to the government to
we're
take
not
care of you.
no, we're not being a slave to the. I'm just saying we haven't had a lengthy amount of time to actually build wealth or do the generational stuff that you guys have tried to push on us because of everything that has been going on since we've been on the earth. Half of our life has been in not in chaos and turmoil, but something has happened about half
Oh,
of our life.
okay.
Half of our life is always something going on. And so by that logic, you only have half of that life. So I would say, the first half, kids, you don't really have a whole lot of responsibilities as kids. Once you become an adult, if half of our life as an adult was in some kind of chaos or something going on, how do you
Well, you
expect
should
this?
be stronger. You should be stronger now.
We already were stronger because y'all were telling us to put dirt
No,
on.
y'all weren't stronger. You weren't
Okay.
strong.
Okay.
You
Because
weren't
you
strong.
sitting here trying to pin all of that on us, even though
No, I'm not pinning on you. But
and
what I'm
I know,
saying,
no, and I know it's a generation behind us. Don't even try that with me because you know good and well, we're a generation that had to tough it out, and
what?
grow with everything.
No, 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 no. You didn't have to tough out anything.
What are you talking about?
Well, I know you went through some things, but you had us.
Which us meaning, oh, put some dirt on it, you'll be okay. Oh,
Right,
we
right,
gotta
right.
go.
That's old school. That's old school. It's
Okay,
old school method.
right. Mm-hmm.
You got to man up, warming up,
Mm-hmm.
be this. We have allowed the generation beneath us
You mean the generation beneath us?
to live,
Mm-hmm. Because I know you're
to
not talking.
live.
You're not talking about our generation. I can tell you that right now.
Jack, I'm talking about your generation.
No, you're
I'm
not.
talking about your generation because you're the reason why the generation beneath you is the way it is.
No, no.
If you don't,
The reason why the generation beneath us is the way it is because your generation, older generation. Oh, maybe we were too hard on these kids. Let's lean up. Let's lighten up on a lot of stuff that we used to enforce. So don't try to put that on us. You don't try to put that on us.
no, no, no.
Talk
Like I
about
said,
parents going to
we hold some responsibility
talk about parents
for that.
going to jail for disciplining their kids. That we would discipline our kids, but we
Oh
can't
no,
do that
no,
now.
no, no. That came from the kids saying, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you hit me. I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna tell on you." My mom was like old school, like, "Go
Yeah,
ahead, and tell.
mine was
Go
too.
ahead, go ahead, do it, and see what happens." So, what I'm saying is the the mindset is there for this new kind of enslavement. The mindset is there. All the pieces and parts are in place for people to just accept. I'll take whatever the government gives me. Entrepreneurship, striving, everybody's the same, everybody's across the board. As long as I got a roof over my head and food, I'm good. Do you see that? Do you see that mindset, or
Well,
do you see something else?
that's not gonna be possible because we're in a capitalistic.
Oh, you think so?
I mean, the cream of the crop's gonna rise and profit off of everybody else. So I mean, unless you plan on going somewhere else, you're not gonna get out of that cycle, or you develop something to put you in that 1%. I hear what you're saying. I hear what
Hmm.
you're saying, but it's kind of like you're talking to. We would have to have not even a mon. What's the one where everybody the hive mind
The
mentality?
socialist,
Yes.
the socialist,
Yeah.
where everybody's the same
Yeah.
across the
Basic.
board.
Yeah. That's what you would need to
And,
have.
you know,
If
yeah,
you're
and
talking
that's
about
where we're
trying to
going, and
that
that's where we're going.
that's not gonna happen. Not here. That's not gonna
Uh,
happen here. No. As long as there's money to be made, that's not
so,
gonna happen
so,
there.
so, who you think is going to stand to stop it?
Nobody's gonna stand to stop it. As
I
long
know,
as we have
I
what
know.
we have in place as far as the
What do you have
country,
in place?
as far as the
Oh,
country, as long as we have the country that we have in place, everybody's gonna be out for we've already talked about this. Everybody is out for themselves to look out for number one. That's not going
now,
nobody's going to take a bullet for somebody else because they're feeling nice and courteous. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. You know it and I know it. That's not gonna happen.
so when I see people coming on TV and saying they need help because they don't have shelter or they need help to bury a loved one,
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking other people because they don't have their stuff in place because whatever reason, being on the system that allows you to grow but so much, to be on the system that says I'm a spoon feed you this stuff so that you will need me, but
Mm-hmm.
you can't grow as a person. You telling me under that mindset, under that rule, that it's not possible that that will be the norm.
So to recap,
When I see the numbers,
mm-hmm.
when I see the numbers on that, because it's generational,
Mm-hmm.
and, and those numbers keep growing exponentially
Mm-hmm.
higher than people like myself or anybody else who have to take care of their kids out of their own pockets, being a slave to wages, which I am. I'm a slave to wages,
Mm-hmm.
can only afford to take only three or four. You got a system in place that can say you can have as many as you want and I'll keep rewarding you for it. So tell me how you get those numbers to decrease when the number of people who don't think that way are not in that way or live in that way are going down.
Only way you're gonna do that is if you put implant a chip into everybody's brain when they come out the womb.
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
there's you're not gonna have a way to control that. It's literally impossible. It is impossible to control what you're proposing, what you're throwing out there. And even when you try to do something good, people are always going to give you flack for it. So why would you want to continue to get flack? Prime example, Mr. Beast, when he's going around doing his entrepreneurship stuff,
Mhm.
and everybody's like, "Oh, I don't think that's a good idea that he paid to have 1,000 people, blind people actually see, or deaf people actually hear." And he's getting flack for it. So why would people want to do that when they know they're going to catch flack? Especially one of the biggest, one of the biggest entrepreneurs, YouTubers out in the space is trying to do a good thing, and he still it's a mute point. There's no point to doing it. That's why I said
But you say it won't happen. You just said it won't happen in this society.
right. But you said who's
But
going to
I'm
step.
saying it will.
But you're saying who's going to step up. I'm going back to what you asked me, right? You asked who's going to step
Right.
up,
That's
and I
right.
said if somebody tries to step up, they're going to catch flack for it regardless because it's crabs in a barrel. Like if you try to do something, somebody's gonna pull you down. It doesn't, and so why go through the stress and turmoil of trying to stand out and do something when you can just keep your head down and continue to do what you were doing
So
or
you
make
just
something.
gonna not do anything
I mean, that's how a
and
lot of
allow everything to happen.
That's how some people
And
look at
that's
it.
my concern.
Hmm.
That's the concern. This enslavement
Hmm.
keeps people docile. They just sit by and
It's
let
not
it
even
happen.
it's not
They're
even
not going to stand for
it's
anything.
not even enslavement. It's your peers. Cancel culture, all this, that, and the third. Me too. It's your peers. What do you mean? The government just has things in place. Yes, they have things in place to keep certain groups down or whatever the case may be. But it's also majority of your peers that do that. So
But it's not coming as to keep them down. It's come to help them. It's like they're the savior. They're trying to help them, but they're helping them with our dollars. This
how
is not money coming from someplace else. This is tax money. This is money comes from taxpayers. And now you see why taxpayers, the money keeps going up. And then when the taxpayers have a problem with it, they're the villain. And that's not right. Because how, you keep taking, and you're not trying to encourage that same drive and say, go out there and make it happen. You're encouraging somebody to not do it.
hmm you want to know why that is? You
Please.
you basically have to clean. If you're trying to do what you're trying to do, stand on this hill, you have to clean house. Everybody has to go because everybody in there has an agenda to do something to keep the way it is. Everybody has to go. But once again, it still goes back to your peers. Your peers are going to be your biggest critics and the ones that pull you down out of everything. They'll find a way. That's what it comes down. Yeah, they may have things in place. Yeah, but those people that were put there were done so by their peers and or the people that were around them or lined their pockets to have a certain agenda. And no matter which way you cut it, it goes down. It comes back to you having to do a major overhaul sweep of everything, and that's not going to happen. There's too many individual thinkers and things like everybody's trying to do their own thing and have their own agenda and do things their own way that you're not going to have a meeting of the minds to go one specific direction to change that. It's
Now,
that's what this country was wasn't it what they say this country was founded on? Everybody having an opinion or something different.
well, no, taxation without representation
Well,
was what,
that was one thing, but I'm saying a
that's
lot of
right.
other things
That's
were
right.
opinions.
That's right. And get to your point, expand on it. Yes, you're right. It doesn't take, it's not going to take the government changing. It takes the people to change. The people got to want it. The people got to want the change. People got to understand where you are. It's not a, you know, oh, the government should realize and what I'm saying is true and all that. It's not going to happen that way. We got to make a stand. And I'm not saying going against the government. Just say, hey, I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to accept it to a point until I get on my feet, and then I'm going to do this on my own. That's self. That has nothing to do with the government. So it's on each individual to take control of their life. Me, as a worker, I gotta say, what's more important? Am I gonna be a slave to my debt and say, well, okay, I'm gonna create debt, so I have to work more to pay. So, and I'm giving up the most valuable thing I got is my time. I can't get that back. You can't pay to get time back. So this enslavement is supposed to be, once you realize you're in it, it should be a new birth where you understand that what is important, your family, your kids, your time, your life. And and now we're caught up in a situation where everything else is important. What we get, the house, the car, the bag, money in the bank. and that's not as important as all the other things.
But here's the I hear you, but here's the thing. You need those things in order
I'm
to
not saying it's not a need.
I know, but you need that's what was taught upon us, right? Like you have to
Mhm.
work. So in order to work, I need to make a certain amount of money. If I don't make a certain amount of money, I go to what you were saying earlier about that whole circle of needing assistance. So which one is it? You can't sit there. You,
Needs, wants.
you
It's
have
that's it.
you need to work to get what you want.
No, no.
You
You
need to
need
work.
you need shelter,
Yeah.
you need
And you
food,
need to work
and
to
you
get
need
those things.
clothing,
And you need to work to
and you
get those
need to
things.
work.
You need to
But you don't
work
need
to
the
want
bag.
those things.
You don't need the bag.
Uh-huh.
You don't need the nice car. You don't need the mansion. You don't
Mm.
need the 5,000 square foot home.
Mm-hmm.
But you need a home.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need $500 pair sneakers or shoes. You don't need that $5,000 suit custom made.
So
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 it's a difference.
but here's the thing. So to go back to what you're saying, you want us to do the bare minimum so we don't achieve we don't have to worry about those extra things. I'm just asking.
Yeah,
I'm just because
I'm not saying do the bare
as I do
minimum. I
recall,
didn't
as
say
I
do
do
the
no,
bare
hold on,
minimum.
but as I do recall, your generation told us to work hard so you can get the things you want, right? So
What you need.
no, you said work hard so you can get the things you want. So we work hard to get the things we want, but now you're telling us we don't need them. So which one is it? Are you wanting us to work the bare minimum so we have just enough to get by, or do you want us to work hard to achieve the things that we want so that way the people we're with, we can take care of them and they can have a better life? As you wanted us to do, right? You wanted us to have a better life than the generation before us. So
Absolutely,
what that
absolutely.
means is that we need to work hard to achieve the things that we need to be better than the
Need.
generation.
You just said need.
Same
You
thing.
just said need.
To be better. So the need means adapting to what's going on in the climate, right? So if things are going up, we have to work harder to be past those things or meet those things, which means it's usually more money than what you previously may have made.
But absolutely, it's going to be more than what I made.
I'm just
I
saying.
mean, I know I made more
I'm
than what they
just
made 20 years ago. I mean, come on.
I'm just saying. You're sitting there saying you don't need all this stuff, but you're telling us to work hard to get the things that we want so we can be better than y'all.
Okay.
Which one's is it? Which one is it? Which one is it, old man?
Tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's when you realize is the juice worth the squeeze, in a sense. If it's taken away from the time to get wants only when your needs are met,
Hmm.
you can use that, and this is where time comes into play. If the earlier you learn, take care of your needs and take the investments and use investments to instead of paying for wants, use that to invest.
Hmm.
You can realize you can retire early. You have more time for your family, the things that are important. But what we do is we chase the wants
Hmm.
and get to the point where we're working and we're using that valuable time to the point where we missed everything. And by the end, we wonder, where did the time go? Because it went at work. When
Right.
I could have used concentrated on my needs
Hmm.
only instead of my wants, and use the want, quote unquote, income to invest and grow so I can spend more time with my family.
So here's the thing. So you want us to work
Mhm.
and invest, right? So investing requires money.
Absolutely, especially in time.
Invest
No, the investment it requires time
and
and
money.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's
At the end of the day, you can't invest anything if you don't have anything to you don't have any if
right,
you don't
right,
have
right.
any currency to
Yeah,
invest with.
but it takes time.
So with that being said, if you want us
Mhm.
to invest, we still have to put in the work hours to make that money, correct? So if the money doesn't match the necessities and we have to work more, that takes away from the overall time, right? So if we have to work overtime or work more hours to make the money that we need to invest, we don't have as
So,
much.
so oh, okay. Hold on a second.
I'm just
So
going back.
you're telling
I'm
me,
just listening to what
you're
you're.
telling me,
Mm-hmm.
you're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you make 50,000. You're telling me that 50,000, 25. Let's say you take 25 to live. That's
And what yeah, and that's why you know, that's how you know it's not. No, in where in the hell do you think
what
you're gonna
I'm
live off of
saying.
$25,000 a year? I'd like to know.
Well, well,
You
what
gonna live
I'm
in a
saying
you gonna live
is
in you gonna live in a
not
trailer
now,
park?
not now.
Oh,
But
okay.
the income always
No, no,
corresponds with
no,
the
it does
time.
not. That is a lie. It does not. It does not.
Well, in your eyes, it don't. It's enough to for food and shelter.
No, it's not.
So where you get it from?
Getting what from? It's not
Money.
enough to. It's
How
not
you
enough.
have food and
It's
shelter?
not enough to
How would
cover.
somebody have food and shelter if it's not enough?
It's not enough to cover food and
Why
shelter.
all the people got houses? Why all the people got food? Why I see people with full
Mm-hmm.
grocery carts
Mm-hmm.
and I got a little basket?
You got a little basket.
Why is
I
that?
know. I know. Yeah, I know. You.
I got a little basket. They got a full cart full of
Mm,
food. How's that?
we can't answer for everybody, so I don't know their situation. But typically, coming right out of college is usually not enough. That's why you have roommates to help foot the bill or whatever the case may be, or you're relying on your parents or somebody else's money to assist you. The parents who
Until
work,
when? Until when?
I don't know, whatever discussion you have as far as as far as the money you're using. I don't know. That's something between you and the
So,
parents.
so, so what's a good number that somebody can live and be self sufficient and
I
get their
say
needs met, not their wants, but their needs met? I said
usually
50. You said no way.
you said 50,000 is enough to
I
live.
said 50,000.
Hmm.
I said 50,000.
You'll need. I wish I had the numbers because I'm pretty sure it was like 70, 60 to 70.
70.
Yeah, to live.
You know how many people make 70,000? I know the numbers are not that high that
Okay.
somebody's making $70,000 a
No, but
year.
you asked me what the number was. I didn't say that's how
Wait,
much.
I'm asking you. I'm
Right.
asking you.
And
Yeah.
then I'm telling you that usually, and I don't even think that's going to be at that point because by the time you're into your late 20s,
Mhm.
you may be at 50,000, 50 to 60,000, late 20s. That's late 20s now. So that's getting ready to go to 30. So 30s, you're probably hitting about 70, maybe 80, maybe, depending on where you work at. So by that whole time, those first 10 years, you're probably not living at the norm or what you need to get by because you're living with a roommate or something like that. I think 9 out of 10 people, if we ask them, they probably say, "Yeah, I had a roommate when I got out of college," because you're not making enough. You're not making enough to live on your own. Wherever depend unless you're like in one of the I think the last thing I read was places to live, and that was like Alabama, Arkansas, the places that people don't think about. We probably wouldn't live there.
Right. Okay.
We
I got
probably wouldn't live there if you know what I mean. We probably but that's stereotyping. But
that's
just
right. But the situation is
situation. But depending on where you're at, you're not gonna once you get out of college, you're typically not going to have that kind of money because you're going to be working an entry level job. And entry level jobs aren't going to pay you. They say they're paying you enough to live, but you're not. They're not paying you enough to live on your own,
taxes.
and that
Yeah,
too.
that's what people don't add.
But
That's what people don't
I'm
look
not.
at.
But I'm
It's
not.
tax.
I mean, even with taxes, they say they're paying you enough to live. It's not. They're paying you enough to live with a roommate or live with somebody else who you may not get along with. The same. The
Well,
same.
what about these tiny houses and things like
You know
that?
how
They
much the
got
tiny
it.
houses cost? I think the tiny you talking about the little shack that they sell at Home Depot. I think the price on that one was $110,000.
110.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, 110. Yeah. Yeah. $110,000. Yeah.
Well, but that's all you need.
So
But
tell me,
you're
Jay.
paying rent.
So
It's
tell
better than paying
so
rent for
tell so tell
1,300, fourteen
so
hundred
tell me,
dollars.
Jay.
Huh?
If I'm making 30,000 straight out of college, 30, 40,000 straight out of college, when am I going to afford the little tiny shack? How long is that going to take me? How much money am I putting aside to get the little tiny shack that costs $110,000?
So how much you gonna put in rent?
I mean, rent that's split between two people, so depending on where you're
Well, you
at.
can have two people in a tiny house.
Why would a tiny house is only it's 2 stories. A one you don't have enough for two separate bedrooms. You're going to be sleeping together. So if you're
Really?
not
And two college guys can't one sleep
because
on the couch and the one in a
why
room?
why would you why who has privacy? You want your privacy?
Oh, privacy, really? You're trying to build yourself up.
Right.
You want to be an adult. You want to be an
So
adult.
so I'm sacrificing
But
my
you're not even there. You're not even there yet.
not
You
even
got to
a
build.
so I'm
You got to build.
sacrificing in a tiny home. I'm sacrificing my privacy and what I what I may do in my downtime to be
Mhm.
exposed to everybody. So if I'm talking to somebody
It's
and
always sacrifice. That's what the young
no,
people
I
need to
understand that,
understand.
but I'm
It's
saying
always sacrifice.
why would I have him listen to conversations that I have when I'm on the phone talking to maybe my
Walk
parents or
outside.
something? Why would I have to
There's always solutions. There's
why would I
always
walk
solutions.
outside in my own home?
Tell him to go outside.
Why would I tell him to go outside when he pays rent there? I'm just saying. You're saying sit there live in a tiny shack with another person. I can understand it if
I'm
it's
just
like your
saying there are options.
I can
There are
understand if
options.
it's your girlfriend, but I'm not doing that with another dude. No. I'm not doing that. If it's my girlfriend or we're together for a time, yeah, I can do that. We can do that or whatever. But I'm not gonna buy a tiny shack to have another dude live there. We got to have two separate rooms because I'm not sharing a bathroom.
You posed the question. You posed the question. How am I supposed to make it without a roommate? And I'm just
No,
giving
I didn't
you
pose the
options.
question. All I said was 9 times out of 10, you're living with the roommate when you come out of college because you're not making enough to be on your own at that point.
So you need help.
And now you try to you need help.
No, that's what you're saying, and that's the mentality of the
It's
group
not it's
behind us.
not needing help. We're doing exactly what you told us to do, but we're not getting paid out the gate to make enough to live on our own. We went to we
So
did
what happened?
we did the high school. We went to college. We did everything that you
Mhm,
guys taught us, right? But then we get
mhm.
out. We're not sitting there asking for $110,000 right out the gate because we 9 times out of 10 we know that's not going to happen. You got to start at the bottom of the ladder. That's where
That's
everybody
right.
else goes, right? That's what you teach us. So how is us already knowing that we're not going to be making an exorbitant amount of money right out of college saying we need help when we already know we're going to probably live with a roommate? 9 times out of 10, we're living with a roommate that we already met in college. So the two of us are rooming together already. So we move to a city or wherever the case may be. We get a two bedroom apartment, split the bill, which is probably like 1,200. So you're paying 600 a piece typically, and then you save the rest of that money that you make, whatever you're making per month or per however often you get paid. So how's that saying we need help?
Well, you say you can't do it by yourself. Then that's what you're saying.
You're not gonna be able to do it. Did you have a roommate? Let me ask you this: did you have a roommate when you graduated college and you lived
No,
up? You liar! You're a liar! You are a liar! You are a liar!
no, no. We
Did
were brought up differently. The times were different.
I'm
The
sure.
times were different.
Uh huh.
You have to. And the thing is, I understand inflation right now is totally different. Um, I don't know how far it's going to go. The housing market is crazy. Um, rent, rental prop, even getting an apartment
Hmm.
it's outrageous. It's unheard of these numbers.
Oh, you don't say.
Food, food,
you,
food, absolutely.
you don't say.
But it's
You don't say. Oh, that's crazy.
but it was fueled by a society and a group of people wanting and needing help, and they got the help. They got the money. They got all this help, and it created a situation where now This is the this is the after effect of trying to have a system where you're trying to help everybody and not and in a system of people relying on a government enslavement, relying on a government to survive. That's why we're at where we're at. And instead of having a system of self reliance, we're having a government, a system of government reliance. And that's why we're at where we're at. But somebody's going to come in and have a different philosophy, and that's the caveat, and that's the main thing we got to focus on is somebody's going to come in with a different philosophy and cut some of that. So the people who are getting things, it's going to be a change, and can they deal with it? They were living a certain way because of how the government is helping or trying to help, if that's what you want to call it, and somebody comes in there with a different opinion, that's when the pressure is going to come on when they take some of these things away because they can't keep it. They can't keep it going at this rate. You just can't keep draining, trying to pull water from this well constantly, and you're pulling more and more and more water. It's going to dry out.
There was no water to begin with. So I don't know what
No,
you're.
I'm the water. I'm the water.
Oh, so you're talking about us relying. So
If
you're
people
trying.
like me,
So.
if people like me, taxpayers
Oh, so
are the one,
all of us, basically.
right?
Okay.
Who pay taxes,
Mhm.
work and pay taxes,
Mhm.
are the well.
Okay.
This is where the water's coming from.
Mhm.
What are you gonna do? What, and I'm telling you, the people like you and I, we're not gonna accept, just working for other people who don't want to work or who just need help and is able to work. It's just not. It's just not. It's not going to work. It's just not going to last. Now we'll deal with it. We'll do our part as we always have. But the well's going to run dry, and these people are going to have to find another way. And they got opportunities right now to
Mm.
get ahead of it and try to get independence. But you're still a slave. I'm a slave to taxes, um, to my job, my wages. So you're not going to be totally free, but you can knock off, you can cut some of those chains off. That's what I'm talking about.
It sounds to me like you're speaking about people that getting like rental assistance and everything like that, benefiting from. I'm just trying
Anything.
to understand because it can.
Social Security and all those things as well, because in Medicaid, which I'm heading that way. I'm getting to that point. But I can't rely on y'all guys to fund it because I just
There
I just don't
wasn't
see the work
you're
ethic
from what
in it
it's not
in that
even
generation
it's not even a
to
worth it.
fund it just like
It's not
we
even a worth
funded
it's not even worth
for the
it.
ones
It's
ahead
not
of
even a
us.
worth ethic thing because they already stated by the time we get old enough there wasn't going to be any social security to begin with.
It's the same thing I heard. But the generation before us didn't hear that because we were workers.
Right. Mm.
We get it done.
Mhm. Right,
Now
just like
I'm worried. I'm
right.
worried. I'm
Just
worried
like
because what's behind me.
right, just like all the stuff that not majority, but a lot of the stuff that you taught us didn't apply anymore. So it's like, what are we supposed to do? What are we have to find our own way.
Improvise and adapt and overcome.
Hmm.
It's like we did.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
Just like we did.
Uh-huh. I hear you beating your chest, but you get no. You can sit there and do that all you want to, but at the end of the day, we're working on the we're paving the roads for everything else right now because you got a lot of
With
stuff.
AI, with AI, you don't even want to work. You don't want to
Mm.
try to get AI running so quick that so you don't have to do anything.
But how many of us are actually using the AI compared to your generation that's benefiting from it? That's using, oh, we could use this to automate our stuff. Oh, we don't have to pay nobody anymore. Let's go ahead and hire a bunch of AI. Oh, we don't have to do that anymore. Uh
It's
huh.
like because nobody want to show up to work.
I wonder
So
why.
what we're gonna
I
do?
wonder why. Nobody wants to show up to work. Maybe it's because might be stuck in your ways from a certain generation that likes to do things a
Well,
certain way.
some things you have to come in.
I mean, I understand that.
Sometimes
I
you have to
understand that.
come in.
But you also have to realize and not be so hard headed that there's some room for change and everything isn't status quo. If you can get the job done in X amount of time, why am I required to do it for this length of time? If I can get the job done quicker and move on to something else, why am I required to do it in X amount of time?
See, you see this thinking right here. This is the thinking
Mm.
that I'm gonna tell my listeners out there.
But look, here's the
Our
thing.
age, we better think of something else other than Social Security because we don't have a generation beneath us that's gonna keep this fund filled
But this goes back
for
to what you were saying,
our
right?
retirement.
If I can shorten the amount of time I have to do something, that frees up time for me, right?
Short and time. That's right. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. If you do the right things with
But that's what I'm
your
that's what I'm saying. Doing the right things to shorten the time, but yet I'm getting fussed at because I didn't do it your way. Oh, you didn't do it my way. You didn't do it my way, so it's not right. But I got the same results in a faster time.
I hope you do.
I'm just
Because
saying that's usually how it
I need the generation behind
that's
me
how it usually
do
goes.
what they need to do
I'm just
so
saying.
I can get what
That's
I
how
deserve and
that's
I've
how it goes.
catered to
I mean, look,
for 50 something years.
look, you get what you deserve once you realize everything doesn't have to be a certain way. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Allow room for change. Stop being stuck in your ways. You didn't. I don't care if you walk. I
Just
don't.
think
I
about
don't.
wait, I'm just
I
worried
don't
about the
care.
way you
I don't.
coming
I
up
don't care if you walked
and your
8 miles in the
generation
snow
beneath.
up and down the hill. We got snowmobiles now to get you there faster.
You're just gonna stay enslaved, aren't you?
No,
Just gonna
I'm not
stay enslaved.
enslaved. There's only things that I'm enslaved to that I have no choice. And
Oh
that
yeah, yeah.
and that came
That
and
part
that
of
was
it.
assigned up. That was assigned to that when I came out the womb. So there's nothing I can do about that. So there's nothing I can do about that. I don't have a choice in the matter unless I
But,
live off the grid. But that's
yes, yeah. I mean, you're not totally off the grid anyway.
right.
So you're still enslaved. But um, first of all, I'm just going to hit on these points real quick. First of all, we're all part of it. We're all enslaved to some capacity. Some more, some a lot less. Things you can do to help is be more self-sufficient, um, less debt. You know, the more debt, the more time you have to put in to get out of that debt, more resources you have to use to pay that debt down, pay that debt off. That's it. And we got to get out of the mindset of the wants override needs. Once your needs are met, a want here and there is once is okay. But when wants override needs, then there's an issue. You got to step back. That enslaves you to a lot of things too. So you can
But
lessen it or you can increase this enslavement mentality, this life. You have control over it to some capacity.
I have a question about that. But wasn't that put on us by our parents? Like this is the life you should try to live as far as your parent being a nice home. Like so we were kind of put into that and having this way of
We were
looking.
sold the dream too.
Right. I'm just saying, like it's a trickle down effect is what I'm getting at.
That's
So
right. We were sold. We were
it's
sold.
not something we can't. It's like you want to kind of do the same things that your parents did, live in a nice house, but unfortunately we have more, not even more, but things will continue to go up in price and everything like that. So what may have cost you, 80,000 or 100,000 or whatever, might cost us 250 now.
That's right.
So that means we have to do more to get to that point of trying to live like our parents did, if not better.
I know society and pay changes as well with time. So you're getting compensated based on the era you're living in.
Right.
So
But we still have to work harder to get to
that's
that.
right.
We still have to work harder to get to that point.
Yeah, yeah. And some people don't have to work as hard.
Some people are born into it. Some people also hit it lucky by developing something and then they take off. It just depends. It all depends. It's not across the board for everybody. But what I'm saying is that everybody was sold that dream, and so you're kind of put in that enslavement once you were aware. Because as a kid I just count that out. Those first 12, 13 years are
All right.
freebies.
Right.
Once you hit like high school and you start, oh, this is the real world now. You start realizing, oh, this is how I want to be when I get
That's
older.
why I was trying to tell you, don't try to be
Mm,
an adult before your time because you're gonna have the rest of your life to be in that role.
mm,
And it's not fun all the time.
right. But there's also some things that probably could have been, well, but then you can't predict the future. But there's some things that probably could have been taught a lot earlier.
That's right.
But
But we were indoctrinated into the same thing.
right, I know. But I'm what that's all I'm getting at is that there's some
Mhm.
things that the base level things that probably could have been taught earlier instead of
Absolutely.
later, like when you're 18. Oh, you're about to move out, so this is what you're gonna instead. And I know some parents do it earlier. Some it just depends on where you're at. But and then also the schooling. There were some things that were already out the door when you're going through school that aren't even used anymore. It's just like okay, but you can't predict the future for that. It was across the board because that was what the trickle down effect was. It's like oh, this is still going to be used in 10 years.
Yeah, look at school now.
Yeah, they learn. They actually teach.
Totally different.
They teach a lot harder classes. Like
Mhm.
I've heard some of the stuff. I've heard some of the stuff that the kids are learning now. I was just like, that was college stuff that when I did it. So I was like, hold on.
Hey,
So
and the method is changed.
yeah.
The style has changed. So it's totally different. So I just, you know, I thought this was a good topic because we're all a part of it. We all can relate into some capacity. And and for me and people like me and older, we got to worry about these younger
You don't have to worry
people
about
now
us.
being able to support Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and things like that, that we were strong enough to support ahead of us,
Hmm.
even though we're enslaved.
Right. So when your generation realizes you don't have to chase away talent to work at your your establishments because you want to be hard headed, maybe then you still have some more money to be put into Medicaid and Medicare. I'm just saying.
Well, we take care of your guys too because you're part of
Uh,
the system
I
too.
mean
You
that's.
got more disability people beneath us than we got ahead of us.
I mean I can't speak for the people that go into the military a couple of years and then get out. I'm not them.
I'm just talking about this Social Security disability.
Hmm.
You got
They
more people on that beneath us, younger than us, than we got ahead of us.
so most of the time when you get the Social Security disability, like you're
They
usually
get it. Some get it at birth because they got disabled. They're disabled. They got a
well,
learning disability or something like that.
so I mean, I don't know how
They
you
got it all their life and never put a dollar in it.
I don't know how you expect somebody with a learning disability to be effective in society.
But I see a lot more of that though. We've
I
seen a
mean,
lot more.
it just depends.
With science and all this stuff.
Okay,
I
so
think
you just want somebody to get
well,
injected with some so
I'm just saying.
okay,
I'm
so
just saying.
that's the route you want to go. You want everybody to just get injected with some untested serum. Like here you go, you gonna be fixed. Here you go, right there.
No,
Get off of my Social Security.
no. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that it just I see the numbers of disabled young people
Hmm.
increase compared to the ones before us and the
I
ones
mean,
in
but
my.
that's a broad statement because I know people that went into military for a couple of years and get disability because they're actually they hurt themselves or whatever. Not like they're physically unable to walk or anything,
I'm
but
talking about the military per
mm,
se, but I'm talking about civilian
hmm
disability, and it falls in the military as well. But I, eat both.
that's the only
People thinking they deserve disability when they're really not I'm not saying they're really not. I'm just
yeah, that's
saying.
what you're saying.
I'm
That's what you're saying. That
just saying.
there's no tightrope.
People,
There's no tightrope walking.
people with
Right. That's what you're saying.
disability, and and it's just a higher number
hmm
beneath us than ahead of us. That's all. The numbers are different.
Mm. Could it be perhaps that we're maybe living a lot longer, and that's why?
I don't see that. I'm seeing younger kids dying off.
Oh,
Well,
that's
it's probably more, but
yeah. Uh, we're living a lot
numbers
longer.
are high.
That's what it is. We're living a lot longer. People were usually dying probably about like 70s. Like you don't have the people living to 90s and 90 plus as you do now.
I see that long. I see that now.
Right. But I'm saying
You
people are
know, just
people
85,
yeah,
85 too.
yeah. People are
Um,
living a lot longer now. So, they're taking more money. So, what you need to do
is what?
hey man, you
Is
you
what?
you wanted to say cut off the you wanted to
They
say
put in. Hey, at least they got their money back. They
you
was
wanted
paying
you
all
you
these
wanted
years.
to
These people never even paid.
you wanted to say cut off the front end. I was like, hey, maybe the back end
No,
needs.
no, no, don't call it the back end because they earned it. They paid.
I'm just saying.
The back
I'm
end
just
is the one
saying.
that not paid.
I'm just saying. You maybe need to cut off the back end. Maybe the back end needs to go. The back end ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, the back end needs to go
The
because
back end ain't doing anything except breathing
the
air.
front end is doing great.
Back end ain't doing anything except breathing air. I don't know what you talk about. I'm just saying. Look, man, maybe that's what needs to happen.
No, that's not what needs to happen. They earned it. They get their money back because they put in.
No,
The
they
back
get
end is
they
not the
no
one. The
they
back end is
no
the
no
ones
no.
not doing
They're
anything.
getting the money from the ones that died off earlier. That's the what they're getting from money from the ones that died at 60, 65
No,
years old that put it in and get to experience it. That's how it works. It rolls over. It rolls over to
yeah,
the
it
next.
rolls on, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So they
see,
benefit from the generation before them. Ain't no I'm better. No, the ones behind them are
they generate,
benefit. Yeah.
they generate.
Exactly. As long as you know. So maybe that's what needs to happen.
No, no. The generation behind us, oh God, they did it.
But by the time that happens,
But
we gonna be on another planet, so it doesn't matter. But
you go to another planet,
yeah, I'm
Mars.
out of here. I'm out of here. Peace.
No, no.
I
Is it Venus or Mars?
think it's
Mars.
Mars. I'm out of here.
Mars.
I'll be on
That's
the first flight. I'll be the experiment. I'll be the first one there. Catch me later.
why.
hmm?
Why?
There's too much going on here, man. You know it or not. There's too much going on here.
Enslavement,
There's
enslavement,
too much going
enslavement.
on here. It's not even enslavement. It's just too much in general. Too much going on here. Nope. I'm good. I got other
But
things
no,
to do.
but happy memorial to everybody.
hmm
But I just want people to realize that, we're all a part of it and it would be in our best interest to cut some of these chains, to break these chains, some of these chains that enslave us to certain things, government, bills, job, and things like that.
I mean, I have nothing to say. Like, what was this? There's three
Uh,
things
I
guaranteed.
just, I just can't wait till this generation. I see what this generation
I
does.
mean, came
But
out the womb. There was already three things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and what was the third one? Uh,
uh,
that that saying. There's three things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and there's one more. So
I forgot the other one.
yeah. But if you remember repeating the comments, I just know that's how I'm. It's like, look, I
Um,
already knew. But anyway, while he's sitting there thinking, you see the it's you remember the '90s? Remember the old school mouse wheel that used to turn real
oh,
slow? That's what's going on over here. So don't worry about it. He's sitting there. He'll have the answer next week by the time we come back for
you
another
got that
episode.
right.
But
But
we'll see you.
peace.
We'll see y'all next week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Um, If you have anything you want to say in the
He's
comments,
up next week.
you know it's about to be
You know what
amazing.
that's
You,
going to be.
you
All
know
right.
it's going to be something to keep y'all on your toes because y'all like to just sit back. Well, I got my Social Security coming in. I got nothing to worry about. I got my Social Security coming in. We got nothing to worry about. All this technology is changing around us won't impact us because we got Social Security to rely on. Okay.
Good voice. You get that down pat. But no, no, watch. But hey, the topic, maybe something. Maybe come up with something next
Yeah,
week.
then you be like, oh, I didn't know that. I was over here living in my little house, worried about my Social Security. Got nothing to worry about. Anyway, we'll see y'all next week, and we're out of here later.